To defeat an enemy, you must know them. Not just their battle tactics, but their history, philosophy, art. Welcome to the Chiss Ascendancy podcast.
Well. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
What show is this?
57? Are we at 57 or 56?
57? Maybe 58. I don't know.
I don't even know, man.
I don't know. But you are listening to the Chiss Ascendancy.
Yes, you are.
Intro sounds a little bit different. You got a one extra voice, episode 57.
There we go.
And that is because Josiah and his lovely wife Macy are out of town celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Josiah and Macy. Love you both.
Yep.
And in the meanwhile, we're going to be doing a little bit of a side gig here. So while the cat's away, the mice are at play.
Yeah, they are.
So Blink-182 has a song called Adam's Song. We're just going to have an episode called Adam's Episode. So we got our friend Adam Macy. I think this is your first time on camera.
Yeah.
And he's usually back there helping us out, making sure the shot looks good, or helping us, run stuff. Like now we've got this TV. He'll put stuff up there for us. But we figured we'd take the opportunity to get the man from behind the camera in front of the camera and let the folks at home know a little bit about him.
Yep. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So, Adam, you're helping out on a Star Wars podcast. Obviously, that bespeaks a little bit of love for Star Wars. What are your earliest Star Wars memories?
I would think that, I think it was Empire Strikes Back came out on VHS, I think in like 85. I know that, kind of ages me. I was 2.5 years old, maybe, or no, it just turned 2 because it came out in August of 85. So I just turned 2. And I think when I was 4, I watched that nonstop for a year. That's what my parents tell me. So I knew Empire Strikes Back backwards and forwards,
Like the back of your hand.
Yeah. Just it was the movie to watch, and now obviously it's the best one. So
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad place to start.
Yeah.
Maybe I've told this story before, but when I was younger, my mom would have a Bible study or whatever, and so we had episodes 4 through 6 on VHS in a box set.
okay,
And she would let us watch those only when they were having the Bible study because it would keep us distracted the whole time. And so she was done with her study group or whatever, but Empire wasn't over. She's like, all right, time to give the movies back. And I was like, I'll show her. So I took Empire out of the sleeve and I put the sleeve back in the box set and handed her the box set.
nice.
And she came into my room a couple days later and I was watching Empire and I got in trouble for it, but it was so worth it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I stand by that decision.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to take those chances.
Yep.
You never know.
Yep. Sometimes you gotta run before you can walk.
That's right.
That's what Iron Man says.
Kind of makes you a better person in the long run, kind of, if that's a thing. I don't know.
So, Empire was your start. Is that your favorite film?
No, honestly, don't hate me, but I loved when Force Awakens came out.
The Force Awakens.
It was,
Dude, I didn't even know that. How did I not know that?
well, it was, there's been 6 other movies and we hadn't seen anything in a while. And just
Right.
like when this one came out, it was on a totally different level. And it just stuck out to me. I like all the movies, don't get me wrong, but I don't know, just Force Awakens just stuck out to me and I really liked it.
Wow, TFA, interesting.
Yeah.
I remember last week we did the trailers episode, and seeing the trailers kind of brought back a lot of the emotions that you kind of,
absolutely.
because you can shelve those things pretty easily if you don't watch the trailer. But the Force Awakens specifically, Josiah and I got tickets to go see the marathon, so we saw all 6 in theaters, and then episode 7. It was a wild ride, but we were just so stoked. Man, I really thought you were going to say something prequels when you said, don't hate me. I thought that's where that was going.
Well, in the same line, my next one would have been Phantom Menace.
Dude, I knew it's the logical choice is Empire or Revenge of the Sith from 1 through 3. That's my favorite Star Wars movie, but I love the Phantom Menace and it gets so much hate.
Yeah.
But because you said don't hate me, I figured it was either one of the sequels or it was TFA or TFM.
Yeah, it just
Oh my god, The Force Awakens. Yeah,
Phantom Menace was a I don't know, it was kind of iconic because me and like 8 of my cousins went to see this because they were in town. It was Christmas, or I think around Christmas time, or maybe a holiday or something.
December.
Yeah, and so they're just like, "Hey, let's go to a movie." So we piled up in the car. My dad took us down there, and 8 people into a Jeep Cherokee, or 9, including my dad. So it was interesting to say the least.
That's a snug fit.
It was very snug.
How many were in the back?
I don't know, 2 or 3 of us.
Just like in the trunk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, but we got up there, and then when you get to like the pod racing was so awesome. Like it just, I first initially seeing it was just awesome. And then to go back and rewatch it, it's still cool. Like it's still just as cool as watching it the first time.
Yeah. How would you feel about the Phantom Menace if it still had that hour-long pod racing scene that it was supposed to have?
I'd watch it. I'd still watch it.
I'd still watch it.
I'd still watch it.
That's kind of like me. I remember when, the sequel trilogies were coming out and everybody was talking about Darth Jar Jar.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to watch this film, but if it's Darth Jar Jar, I'm quitting Star Wars forever. I was like, I'm still going to watch it, but I'm quitting Star Wars after this.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, no, I just can't really imagine what it'd be like to have like an hour scene of anything, really.
Yeah. I mean, that seems a little extreme, but
right.
It was so good.
It was so good, I think, because it wasn't an hour long.
Probably.
It's kind of like my dad's on a burner for 24 right now.
Okay.
And that show is exhausting to watch.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, made it through season 1. I was like, wow, it took you like a full day, I bet. 'Cause, I mean,
That's
minus
funny.
the, what's not making it up to an hour because of commercial breaks and everything, but it's literally 24 hours a season.
Yep.
So that's your favorite, let's say, Skywalker saga film is The Force Awakens. Phantom Menace close second. What about the extra films?
I loved Solo.
Okay.
I thought Solo
That's
was
a good
great. I thought I can't think of the actor's name, but I think he did a decent job representing Solo.
Yeah, those were big shoes to fill.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember being very nervous about that.
For sure. It was the storyline was interesting, but I love to see his backstory too, because we don't know a whole lot about him through the 9 movies that came out. We don't know his previous story unless you've read books or what have you. But just going back and seeing where he came from, and obviously we knew he was by himself, just growing up as a kind of an orphan, so to speak.
Yeah.
In Corellia, but I mean, just to see everything that he went through, actually being part of the Empire, becoming a pilot and stuff through all that, it was just interesting.
Yeah. So Solo over Rogue One then?
Yeah, except for the final scene where Darth Vader just unleashes. That is by far my favorite scene in Star Wars.
Dude,
Love it.
It's really hard to beat. I think it's just because it was so anticipated. Everybody's wanted that forever.
Oh my God, yeah.
Forever we've wanted that. Yeah. Do you think that you would like Solo as much if you hadn't watched Clone Wars?
Maybe, but I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah. I think a lot of people that don't enjoy Solo as much, and I think Rogue One is, it obviously contributes to the story leading up to 4, right?
Sure.
And then I think part of why it's so successful, though, is because they didn't have to build up any characters that we already knew for the most part. I think Mon Mothma was in it.
Right.
And Akbar, but, not mainline characters. And I think that standalone idea, kind of let them be successful because they had to kill everybody.
Right.
Going into the movie, everybody here has to die. We don't see
Right.
him again. But part of what made Solo so great was that it tied into the other elements that were working through Star Wars, mainly through the gangs, and Darth Maul gets pulled back into it. Most people thought Maul was dead if they hadn't watched the Clone Wars. I remember I was in theaters watching it, and everybody's like, what? Darth Maul's alive?
Right.
And you could tell who the fans were and who weren't.
Right. And actually going back and watching Clone Wars, because y'all had watched it and told me to watch it, and so I went back and watched it, and then seeing everything that he gets involved in and stuff like that, and then actually thinking back to Solo. It's like that all ties in, like you said, but it just makes a lot more sense. But I just love how I think that's one thing that I love about Star Wars is all the pieces can be in, totally different regions, but at the same time they all connect, and it just makes it so good.
Yeah. And it's so difficult to do. I mean, I'm working my way through the material for the High Republic, and it's all falling together, but it's so
far apart.
It's falling together, and it's like there are so many moving pieces, but they're still working together.
Sure.
Where the characters from one book will be loosely referenced in another book, and how all those pieces are tracking. It's very interesting how they're able to do that. But I think that's one of the things that makes Star Wars so great as a whole.
Yeah.
Is its ability to kind of make those things happen against, movies and books and comics and TV shows. Those things are kind of hard to track.
And I think that they've done such a much better job as opposed to like the Marvel Cinematic Universe where, I mean, they had all these movies and stuff to do, but to do that with movies, TV shows, books and stuff like that, I mean, you've got to literally tie everything together and just to have all those ties in place and actually make sense and flow. I mean, they're doing such an awesome job to keep it going.
Well, and part of the crazy thing is that Marvel has a multiverse too. So even if there is a plot hole, they're like, wrong one, different universe. But it's much harder to sweep those things under the rug when you have, one single line. And I think that's probably why they did away with most of the what's Legends material now.
Sure.
Just for the sake of continuity. Well, while we're talking about multiple platforms, what's your favorite TV series? Let's say animated.
Ooh.
Because I think everybody's going to pick Mandalorian at this point.
You're going to hate me, but Rebels.
Can you justify it?
I don't know. I liked Ezra. There was just something about him that I liked.
Are you biased because your son's named Ezra?
No. And I did not name Ezra after Ezra. Named Ezra after the Jewish name of the Bible. But no, but for whatever reason, I thought his character was kind of cool. He was just, a lost kid, very similar to Solo, on his own, making it, but then realizes he's got the Force in him and just, I don't know, just kind of took off.
How do you feel about his staple gun lightsaber?
Oh my gosh. I think it's awful.
I'm going to go right for the Achilles. Pick on your favorite character.
No, that's probably the worst thing about it. It's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But you're right. A staple gun. Come on.
Yeah, man. Obi-Wan would have been really upset.
Yeah,
absolutely. So uncivilized.
Absolutely. That's probably the worst part about it. But some of the stories were kind of cool. And then the characters that he's in contact with at all times. The pilot, what's her name?
Hera.
Fantastic. I love her.
Yeah, she's a cool character. Yeah. Kanan's a cool character. There are some cool characters, and I do owe them the fact that they used Rebels to bring back Thrawn. I owe them that much.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't care for Kanan. Kanan got annoying to me. At first, he was kind of cool.
Is it because you identify with Ezra?
No. No, Kanan just got to, I don't know, it was just kind of annoying. And then when it goes into him and Hera's love story, that was a little annoying.
I think Kanan was better after he got blinded.
I thought he was better before.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I think he found his stride when he was blind.
I can see that.
You know what I mean? He got more centered.
Yeah, I can see that. Maybe that's why I didn't like him, is because he's more centered.
Because he was less chaotic.
Yeah, I'm more of a chaotic person, so.
I can feel that. All right, so then, favorite Jedi?
Oh. Eesh, caught me off guard there. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so I'm going to have to go with Luke.
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Have you, I guess probably not, but I was just curious if you had happened to read any of the older book material.
I have not.
Covering Luke's life?
No.
Dude.
It's on the agenda.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't got
Well, it's cool because I think something that is kind of different in the way we see Jedi, especially in the original trilogy, and how our perception of them kind of changed around the prequels, would be the way that we view the Jedi. And I think part of it is that movie technology then was so different. It was really hard for George to convey what he thought a Jedi could do or what their limitations would be.
I could see that.
And so even Luke as the master, like Grandmaster Jedi, he's still figuring things out a lot of the time.
Sure.
But yeah, Grandmaster Luke is insane.
I did like Anakin a lot. A lot. But just, like I said, being a child of
is
the
it
80s,
nostalgia
90s,
that gives Luke the win?
For sure.
You know something that's crazy is in the High Republic, they have multiple Grandmaster Jedis.
Really?
Yeah. I always thought it was just like Like there was only one.
Like the one.
Yeah, but in the comic, there's two. There's Yoda and there's another guy. And I'm not sure if that's because Yoda's on sabbatical. The other guy's just kind of wearing his hat.
Like interim or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they just said Grandmasters because Yoda still has the title.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. I hope they develop that a little bit more.
That'd be cool to understand that a little bit. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, those are just kind of things. Because, I mean, think about it. We didn't even have those rankings established before we got to the prequel films. That stuff was never talked about in the original trilogy.
True.
All that kind of stuff we take for granted. So, favorite Jedi is Luke. Favorite Sith?
Ooh. I love me some Sheev. Like, I love Sheev, but Kylo, probably.
Kylo Ren.
I love Kylo.
What do you feel about them saying that Kylo's not our true Sith?
I mean, agree to disagree. I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's funny that you would walk this line because Luke, for Luke's sake, they're saying that Kylo Ren and Snoke aren't true Sith. But, you know, it's kind of hard to stand by that argument now if you think that Snoke might be Palpatine's new apprentice and Palpatine's the one true Sith.
Maybe, but I mean, you got to think of how Kylo kind of flirted with both sides too. So he's got some Sith there, he's got some Jedi there. I mean, he's had Jedi training, so I mean, he knows kind of both sides. But I mean, he dabbles in the Sith a little bit. So I mean,
well, and I think the main transition that we see for a lot of the prominent Sith, especially in like the Old Republic stuff, so like Malgus and Bane. One of their things that they have in common is like a final sacrifice to kind of go over to the dark side. And Kylo kind of does that with Han.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That he kills Han, but it's hard to say if it counts if Han kind of did it for him. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's not really explicitly stated.
That can be a little complicated, a little bit deeper than I am. But but like, I don't know. There's just something about him. And then when you go into what was it, The Last Jedi, where he's in the throne room scene, and then he turns that lightsaber and just pretty much slices Snoke in half, and then you can kind of see where he's flirting with, man, I really miss being good, or hey, I'm still bad. I can still do this. I can still pull this off. And I don't know. I love that character where he doesn't know which way he's going, but he's trying to go some way.
Yeah, and it was interesting because it was like he was abandoning the dark side, but at the same time he was trying to usurp the throne.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. And then to go from that to the very end of Skywalker, episode 9, where him and Rey, turn out to be best friends, so to speak.
Right.
And
best friends with benefits.
Right.
Little smoochy smooch.
And then
for the death scene.
Yeah, I don't know, I loved his character. I thought they did a great job, regardless of who made the films. I thought that they did a great job with Kylo.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I love Kylo. Kylo was easily the best thing to come out of
for sure
the sequel trilogy, in my opinion.
For sure.
Mainly because Han dies in movie 1, Leia dies in movie 2,
Luke dies in movie 2.
Yeah, or no, Leia dies in movie 3, but basically movie 2.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like that, it was very much they were trying to install these new characters, so mainline characters didn't get as much love as everybody would appreciate it. But
I didn't really put that together until you just said that, to where they're really killing off the old characters to make room for all the new characters and stuff.
Just like the Sith.
True.
Disney is the Sith Empire. You heard it here
first.
That
is hilarious, but true.
All right, so we've got, what do we got? You got your favorite film, you got your favorite extra film, your favorite TV series, Jedi, Sith. All right, Bounty Hunter, I guess is the next logical step.
Again, child of the 80s and 90s. I did love Boba Fett. Didn't know a whole lot about Bosk, but the scene in Empire where all the bounty hunters.
I know all about the toes.
Right, about the toes. So I knew that they were there. Didn't really know a whole lot about them, but after Jon Favreau and Filoni came out with Mandalorian, I'm hooked on Mando. I love Mando.
Din Djarin, favorite bounty hunter.
Yeah, I love him.
Bosk was my favorite bounty hunter for a long time.
Okay.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think
I'm all about Ambo these days.
Okay. He's from what I've read about him, he's
a bad man.
Yeah, for sure. But being a Favreau fan first, and just knowing, seeing Iron Man and what he's done with MCU
and Elf, not a lot of people know that. Yeah.
And a lot of movies. but he's just phenomenal at what he does and making movies, directing, acting. I mean, he does a great job, and I just think they putting him together with Filoni. I just thought they turned Mando into
right, because you got a great filmmaker, and then in Filoni you have a great film thinker.
Right.
You know what I mean? You have somebody who's going to get into the deep lore, and they both love Star Wars.
And, Filoni being George Jr., he's got that mindset of how Star Wars needs to be.
Right.
And so, putting him together with Filoni and, putting him together with Favreau and all the other directors that they have doing those, they just did a phenomenal job.
Agreed. So, being the more casual fan on this show.
Sure.
Casual is kind of a loose word where the bar is really high.
Yeah.
What do you feel is something that the casual fan kind of misses out on as far as not getting into the extra material?
Listening to you guys talk about like the books and stuff is phenomenal to me, because most of the stuff that I read is about money, about stocks and stuff like that. Just I'm getting old, so I'm trying to think forward or whatever. But at the same time, I just don't read near as much fiction as I used to. And to hear you guys talk about like Darth Bane, Darth Malgus, and all these other guys, I'm just like, oh my god, like there's so much more that I can't even comprehend, because I haven't read any of the stuff that y'all have.
Yeah.
And so to think about that, the books. Y'all have a buddy Caleb, I think, that started reading some of the books or Audible. I think is what Josiah was telling me, that he was Audible in some maybe the Thrawn series or something. And but getting people into it like that, I think that's the best way to do it. Is just throw it up on Audible and just listen to it while you're doing some other stuff. But
I've got a really good friend. I just got him on the Heir to the Empire series as well.
Cool.
Where he's if for those of you who don't know, Heir to the Empire is kind of the trilogy that saved Star Wars.
Yeah.
As far as interest, because there was a dead space between Episode 6 and then the rebirth of Star Wars in Episode 1.
Yep.
And it mainly focuses around Thrawn. That's where he was first introduced. And he said, I'm really enjoying reading about Han and Luke and Leia, but I'm really into Thrawn. And I was like, yeah.
There you go.
I was like, now you're getting it.
Well, see, and that's what I need to get into too. I need to read it, because with Thrawn making his debut in Mandalorian with Ahsoka, mentioning him, he's going to play a part somewhere in one of these shows, and
he's going to be very important.
Right. And so I want to the fact that we have pretty much based our podcast based on him and his lineage and stuff like that. I need to know a little bit more, and so that's probably where I'm going to start next. Is probably Heir to the Empire myself.
Yeah, Heir to the Empire is a great trilogy. If you're only looking to do a small term investment, I would suggest starting with Thrawn.
Okay.
Just the book Thrawn. Personally, I like he's a different character in a way. And I think Tim Zahn had time to sit and think about, if I could make changes to Thrawn, how would I change him? How would I make him a different character or improve him some way? And I think even though he's essentially got the same strengths, I think the way that he's introduced is just more unique. He's very typical Imperial in the sense that, he's for the Empire. He's just kind of cutthroat, got to do whatever he's got to do for the sake of winning.
For sure.
In the original,
you see a lot of that in Rebels too.
Right.
He doesn't hold back. I mean, if he's going after something, he's going to make sure he wins and he beats everybody at everything. Yeah, for sure.
And then, but he's still got those softer edges now, you know what I mean? And he's not just doing everything for the sake of the Empire, for the sake of him kind of reestablishing himself. He's got those mixed allegiances. He's a very interesting, enthralling character. Fun to read, fun to learn about. Yeah, enthralling. So we're talking about Thrawn and Ahsoka a little bit. How do you feel about Ahsoka?
She was a little annoying in Rebels or Clone Wars. Like really annoying. But I liked that Rosario Dawson. I thought she did a great job with her in Mando. It's got a lot of potential, I think, especially with her hunting Thrawn and trying to find Ezra is what my assumption is. But I mean, overall, I think it's got a lot of potential.
Interesting. So. She definitely had. I think it's pretty widely agreed upon that her start in Clone Wars was pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, it was really.
I think that was kind of intentional because
Okay.
we're just supposed to have somebody that was supposed to dig at Anakin. I think there's like a comedic factor there. But yeah, I personally haven't really seen the appeal that a lot of people have
Sure.
as far, because some people are just like really big Ahsoka fans.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I love the double white lightsabers. That
is cool.
That's awesome.
That's cool. And the story behind that's cool.
Yeah.
There's an Ahsoka novel where it talks about how she, I believe it's been several years since I read it because I read it when it first came out, but I think she reclaims Inquisitor's lightsabers
Okay.
because she had to get rid of hers when she was in hiding.
Yeah.
And they were blood crystals, and then she restores them, and that's why they're white.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was either that or her allegiances shifted and the colors changed. But I'm pretty sure it was the Imperial Inquisitor one. Something like that.
Hey, Jamie, can you
Right.
No, just
Right. Oh my goodness. It's hard to keep track of that kind of stuff after
Sure.
a while. But what is it that keeps you coming back to Star Wars after all these years?
because there's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether it's the video games or the movies or the TV shows or the books, I mean, there's just so much to it that, like I said earlier, I mean, with everything, you know, in different places at different times, but yet it all ties together into one story. It just, it's just one of those things that just, I love the way that it's all put together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot of people ask me, like, what do you talk about on the show? And I was like, Star Wars.
Right.
And they're like, how do you talk about Star Wars that much? I was like, there's so much to talk
Oh my
about.
God, is there so much to talk about?
I was like,
Right.
you don't even understand.
Right. I mean, we're on episode, what did we say, 57?
57.
So 57, and we've still got a bazillion to go because there's literally so much to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
We could have an episode where we talk about just the animals of Star Wars. I mean,
Right.
there's a bazillion of them, you know?
Tons of creatures.
Right, tons of creatures. There we go. Hey, Josiah, can you take notes? No. But
Josiah would love a creatures
I know he
episode.
would.
He'd spend like half an hour talking about
Yeah, he
Wampas.
yeah, he would. But or just droids. I mean, you could sit about and talk around just droids or just Wookiees.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sit here and talk about, you know, have an episode for every single race, and you know, you're talking
Right.
3,000 episodes. You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's all kind of stuff, and I think that's what I love about Star Wars too. Is that it's so immersive. I mean, there's so much to it, so much to dive into that you can just literally spend hours and hours and hours in it and still not know everything.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it's a great uniting thing as well.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because I have tons of
Absolutely.
people that, even if Star Wars is the only thing we have in common, it's like enough. You know what I
Sure.
mean? And I think Star Wars fans get a little bit of hate just because they can be pretty whiny sometimes. But I love Star Wars, and I'll talk to anybody about Star Wars.
I had a lot of friends growing up that were they wanted to be kind of closet Star Wars fans because it wasn't cool to be Star Wars fans.
It wasn't cool then.
But nowadays, like, I mean, some of those guys that I wasn't friends with in high school, you see them posting on Facebook about their screenshots from like Battlefront 2 or whatever.
Right.
Just like, you know, 35-year-old guys, you know, playing Star Wars on Xbox or whatever. It's just,
Dude.
I don't know.
Freaking crazy. Okay, so if you had to choose between being a Jedi and a Sith, what would you choose?
Sith.
Why?
Just power.
Just power?
Just power.
And that you make a great Sith.
Yeah.
That's all they're
Yeah,
about.
that's all it is.
I am re-going through the Bane trilogy.
Okay.
I can't even tell you how many times I've read it, but it's always so good. And
He's probably one of my more intriguing.
he's my favorite Sith.
yeah.
He's my favorite all time. I believe the motto of the Sith is "Peace is a lie. There's only passion," which is directly stabbing at the Jedi because theirs is there's no emotion. There's only peace.
Nice.
So he's like, peace is a passion, or peace is a lie. There's only passion. Through passion, I gain power. Through power, I gain strength. Through strength, my chains are broken. Something like that.
Wow.
That's all they're about.
That's a little too deep for me, though.
It's pretty dark.
Yeah,
you know,
it
they're
is.
like, you know what? Screw whatever this guy's about. I just want things for me.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely
You know,
right.
you'd have to kill Sophie probably. She'd be a weakness.
She'll probably watch this, so I'm gonna have to change my answer. So maybe I'll be a Jedi. No. Yeah, I don't think that would go over too well. So
Probably not.
I might have to change my answer to Jedi.
The Sith are bad man pajamas. You could be a Jedi, I guess, under Luke's tutelage because, you know, they let you have some attachments.
That's true. Or I could just, be an Anakin type and keep it in hiding.
True.
But that didn't
Then
work out too
destroy
well
the
for him,
Republic.
did it?
There's no right answer
There's
here.
no right answer here, for sure.
But yeah, it's always interesting. I think sometimes when I'm driving in traffic about how it's good that I don't have the Force because I would 100% just flip the car in front of me.
Oh,
you know
without
what I mean?
a doubt. Or just wave your hand and have them drive into the
Right.
into the concrete barrier to the left of them.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it
I'm
takes.
going somewhere. I feel like people have been driving slower recently. I don't know what it is. Normally, I'm the one that's slowest, and I'm going like 5 or 10 over, and I've been like stuck behind people going 5 or 10 under every day this week.
Well, with like the freeze and
It's
and
80
rain,
degrees outside.
I know, but it can be 80 degrees out, but as soon as like the clouds get dark and they think it's gonna rain, everybody just goes stupid. I don't get it.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it's a good thing I don't have the Force.
Yeah, I'd be.
I want to say I would be a Jedi, but it would take a lot of self-control. It would take a lot of self-control.
Yeah. I like the Jedi ways. I like the way that they do things. They try to be soft-spoken. They try to do things the right way and only open up a can when they have to. But just go in as a Sith, just like, you know what? I'm gonna fix this problem and I'm gonna fix it now. Just pull out the lightsaber
You
and
just
go to
do
town.
whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
There is the freedom in that aspect of the Sith. What is a Force power that's always intrigued you?
I loved Force choke, like just seeing Vader use that in the early episodes, and then I like the Force lightning but I've always read that Anakin was strong enough to use it but never could because of his suit.
Yeah, it had something to do with the cybernetics as Darth Vader.
Right.
There is precedence for some Jedi using Force lightning.
Well, I mean, Rey.
Yeah.
So
Rey, and then Dooku as well. When he was part of the Jedi, he used lightning on a bounty hunter that was about to kill Qui-Gon when Qui-Gon was his apprentice. Pretty wild, right?
That is wild.
It's hard to imagine that, though. You know what I mean? Because I think it's pretty widely agreed upon that it's like a Sith Force power.
Well, in even going back to being a casual, so to speak, that not even realizing Qui-Gon being Dooku's apprentice,
right?
And so, I mean, that wouldn't be common knowledge to most people just watching the movie.
True.
So
yeah. Well, in episode 2, Dooku talks about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
He does mention it.
But most people are going to forget about that too.
Sure, but I mean, just to really put that in perspective. But yeah, I mean, those two would be the only Jedi that would have that power. But
yeah, I think in canon, as far as I know, I think Quinlan Vos uses it in the comics. There's
he's actually pretty cool.
He's very cool. He's
cool.
one of my top 5, maybe top 3 favorite Jedi.
And when we did that episode about him, I didn't even realize that he had that little cameo in episode 1 where he just kind of sitting in the background back there.
I think the real life story behind that is that character was invented and then they just had that extra. And George Lucas, I think, really liked the character of Quinlan Vos, so he brought him over into canon, and then they made him, That's that awesome. Character, and then, made the markings on his face part of their species.
Yeah.
So very cool. What's your favorite story arc in Rebels?
Honestly, I don't know. There was a lot to it.
There were some good story arcs.
There were. It's been a minute since I've watched it too, so I'm trying to replay it in my head. Put me on the spot. I like the mental fight between Ezra and him, like throughout the whole show.
Ezra and Maul.
Ezra and Thrawn.
Okay.
And just kind of going back and forth with each other, trying to. Or Thrawn and any of those guys, Hera or what was Hera's last name? I cannot.
Syndulla.
So Syndulla's family. That whole episode where
they had the little rattle,
little rattle thing. Anything that had to do with Thrawn in Rebels was great, and then just the progression of Ezra, throughout the years.
I will say that some of Ezra's character development is some of the best.
Sure.
You know, you see him change so much. I think that's one of my greatest complaints about Rebels is how easily matched Thrawn is. Just like, for instance, him losing to space whales. That infuriates me to no end. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, I mean, just like stupid off the wall stuff. You know, we don't know. But exactly. I mean, if you're talking about him actually meeting the objective he had at that time, yeah, I guess he lost.
Sure.
Which is stupid because I feel like the Rebels, for the most part, they don't actually have to win. They just have to stop the Empire from doing whatever they want to do.
True.
You know what I mean? I feel like their options are a lot more open, where the Empire has like one specific goal that they're working towards, and the Rebels are like,
So the Rebels never really progress, so to speak. They just stop the Empire.
Yeah, that's all it is.
They do a little progression, but not much.
Not much at all.
Not much at all.
It's literally their plan is just whatever the Empire's doing to not do it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right,
They're like, where are we going? I don't know. Where's the Empire?
Right. Yeah.
Going to Endor, I guess. You know,
That's
something amazing, I guess.
Something amazing. Hilarious.
Those rebels.
Yeah.
All right. We're talking about original trilogy characters.
Okay.
We're going to just keep it human. Han, Luke, Leia. Who would you rather hang out with for a day? Han?
Yeah. That scoundrel.
What would you do with Han for a day?
Dude, we'd be...
boosting ships.
Yeah, we'd be boosting.
Playing sabacc.
Just stealing stuff. I mean, just sweet talking people out of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Just us and a Wookiee with us. I mean,
dude,
who's going to tell us
shot
no?
At all day, bro.
I'm good with that. I know how to shoot.
Dude, I feel like that would be such a stressful day hanging out with Han.
Probably, but
it would be stressful to the max.
But then when you go to sleep at night, you're like, man, that was awesome, you know? So
if you get to sleep at night, man.
Bro, I'm no stormtrooper. I know how to shoot.
Still on the run. Dude, think about it. He's literally never not on the run from somebody.
Well, I thought about that the other day when Ezra wanted to watch Force Awakens, so we're watching it. And when he pops up there with his ship and his gray hair, I was just like, man, he's literally been on the run forever.
His whole life.
His entire life. So, but yeah, just thinking about how old he is and how he's been on the run forever is just unreal. But the fact that he's still walking on two legs. I mean, he's doing something right.
All right. In episode 8, we've got Luke, and he's walking through his daily life, and Rey's just kind of following him around.
Okay.
Would you drink the milk?
Don't knock it till you try it, I guess. I don't know.
Dude, he makes a really nasty face.
He does make a really nasty face, but I mean, if that's all there is, and because looking around on that island, there's not a whole lot to eat.
There's seafood, man.
Yeah, but that stuff is obviously giving him some kind of protein because
do you think he got mercury poisoning? Eating all that seafood?
I don't know. His hand does look a little silver, doesn't it? little metallic like.
Does his hand filter out mercury? We need answers.
We need answers. That's hilarious.
Okay, let's see. Did Sheev throw the fight in episode 3? Him and Mace Windu.
Did he throw the fight?
Mm-hmm. Do you think Mace Windu actually beat Sheev Palpatine in armed combat?
There's a couple ways I could answer that, but
answer it however you want.
I would say no.
You don't think so?
No, because Sheev does not make decisions without having something behind it filtering, like already knowing what's going to happen next, if that makes sense. So I mean, no, he knew that was coming. He knew something was coming. No, I don't think that. I think he knew exactly what he was doing.
I think he threw the fight.
Really?
I think he threw the fight. Because he needed dire circumstances to push Anakin over the edge. He knew Anakin was going to come.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was holding back that whole time, you know what I mean? He was the one that pushed Mace over the edge.
That's true.
I think it.
But here's the question: Is Mace still dead?
I think so.
Is he dead?
I think he's dead.
But there's so many theories that he's not.
Yeah, but there were so many Darth Jar Jar theories.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't trust Star Wars theories as far as I can throw them.
The theory that Mace was the one that was going to come back and get Grogu. I thought that was so good.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was very logical, but I thought it was like,
I think everybody knew in their heart of hearts it had to be Luke.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The only person running a Jedi temple at the time.
Yeah, yeah. But still, I thought that'd have been an awesome way to bring old Samuel L. back.
It would have been interesting.
Yeah.
It would have been interesting.
So.
Okay, then let's talk about original trilogy. What's your favorite? What's your favorite moment from the original trilogy?
I loved the indoor fight. The very end, like where
like outside the shield generator,
the shield generator, and just like on Endor, where Chewie gets up in the ATST or whatever, and him and the Ewoks sitting there playing with his hair as he's just blasting people out of the trees and stuff. That I just for whatever reason, that was just too cool for me. Like, I mean, when did that come out?
Episode 6. I'm bad at dates. As far as the original trilogy goes.
Yeah. Anyway, but I remember it.
I think it was...
I was still very young, but that's just one of those...
I want to say either 87 or 89.
I think it was 89, something like that. But I thought that was just like very iconic fight for me. Just, it was so much going on. And then to go back and forth between that and the starfight happening up in the...
1983. Sorry, I was thinking 79. But it was 83.
Good
yeah.
Lord.
I was way off on that. Sorry, everybody. Fake fan.
So, but to bounce back and forth between the starfight going on up above and then the indoor fight down below was just phenomenal.
Yeah, for a long time, Jedi was my favorite movie until the prequels came out, and then I was all about Revenge of the Sith after that came out.
So, what makes that such a great movie for you?
For me, I think the greatest thing about Revenge of the Sith is just that was the first Star Wars film we had ever had at that point where the technology really, really, really caught up with what I always envisioned Star Wars to be.
Okay.
And then it's just the culmination of a lot of things we needed to see happen. You know what I mean? We had, it's really about that transformation for Anakin. You know what I mean? Just seeing what pushes him over the edge from being one of the most powerful Jedi in the Order to completely changing teams over to the Sith. It's not like it was unforeseen, what with the whole genocide that takes place in Episode 2, but there's just so much to it. There's a lot of character development. There's great fight scenes. The choreography for that is great. The music is great. It's just it's nonstop. The music
throughout all of them are phenomenal.
Yeah, John Williams
is the man.
He's a beast.
He is the man. I love. In high school, we did a band tribute to John Williams, and it was like just a lot of his songs.
What did you play in high school?
A saxophone.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I played.
Do you still play saxophone?
I can, but I don't. But no, we did Jurassic Park. We did Empire of the Sun. We did Star Wars. We did. I mean, you can go on for days for how much stuff he's done. He's what, 89, 90 in his 90s now.
He's getting up there. Him and Willie Nelson. Never say die.
Right. But they're just. I mean, but he's still producing music, and that's what. I mean, he's just got such a musical brain that just makes him such a genius.
He's a once in a generation genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so with that in mind, favorite score.
You already know.
You gotta tell me.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Episode 1. The
and then the favorite track on that score.
The fight.
Duel of the Fates.
Duel of the Fates. By far, I love it.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's so good, and then the fight was phenomenal too.
The fight was a beautiful thing.
It just clicked.
Yeah, you got Ray Park doing the martial arts for the dark side. You've got Liam Neeson's. He's going to be doing he's doing fight choreography for like every film he's ever done.
Yeah.
From what I've heard, Ewan McGregor is supposed to be like one of the best to work with as far as the choreographers were concerned. I remember the ones that were doing the training for Revenge of the Sith were talking about how easy it was to train Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, and that like it's just like the best you could hope for.
Well, I read something where they were like doing so well in like some of their practices or some of their shootings that they literally had to slow them down because they were just flying through it because they just got like they just had that click together to where everything was just, perfect to where they could go through these fight scenes but it was so quick that they literally had to slow it down just to make it look good.
I'd also heard that they're like, we got to slow this down or nobody's going to believe that it's not sped up.
Right.
That's freaking crazy.
That's unreal.
I personally wish they hadn't done that because I always read about the way that Force users look when they're using the Force. and it's almost always described as so fast it would have been a blur to the naked eye. You know, that it's like it takes some seconds after.
So you're saying that they should have left it in there just to really show us what it was like?
I think so.
I could see
especially
that.
after, because you read about like the way that Sheev Palpatine fights, for instance, in like the Plagueis book, and it's just he's a one-man army. You know what I mean? And so just because on the part of the actor they weren't able to really make him fast enough to portray what they wanted to portray, I think if we could have at least had that from Anakin and Obi-Wan, that it would have been a cool display.
Yeah,
or something like that.
That'd have been really cool.
Okay, well, I think we're about ready to close up.
Cool.
Any last thoughts? Anything you want to share? You need the people at home to know about Adam.
That even if you're just thinking about, taking a look into any Star Wars, whether it's a book or a movie or whatever, just know that it's a lot more than just what you see. There's a lot of content. There's just a lot, period. Check it all out. Check the books out. Check the encyclopedias out. Check the Wikipedia pages. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. TV shows, Disney Plus has got everything on there. The animated series, just check it all out. Don't leave anything left unturned. Check it all out.
There's so much to learn. There's so much to find. And there's really something for everyone, I feel like.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I think that when they went to those animated series, they were trying to tie into some younger generations too, to try to get, to get those too. And I think they did a good job of them. Yeah. But the stories were actually good enough for grown-ups to go back and watch too.
Yeah, it's easy to get into, and it's easy to stick around for.
Absolutely. So.
All right. Well, Adam, you have a tagline?
No, I'm just... may the force be with you guys, and appreciate you tuning in with us, even though there's not a hillbilly with a giant mullet sitting here. But yeah, thanks for joining, and may the force be with you.
And remember, literally right now, because my brother's gone, the only family you have here is me.
Nice. Love it. Take care.